Do you see yourself in the future as a coach?
Nah,
No.
I can't. I don't know. I don't know if I have the patience,
Okay.
to be a coach. It takes a lot of patience to, manage a lot of these, egos that men have as basketball players or just as athletes, And at that point in my career, I don't think I want to go back and deal with all those, because it's not that easy. I give a lot of coaches credit, to be able to deal with not only kids, teenagers, adults. You got to manage a lot of personalities, and it takes special people to do that.
I don't want you to be sad, and I don't want you to focus too much on your injury, But I'm just saying this because life is very weird, Your injury changed a little bit your career, and I can imagine that in that moment you were super upset and sad about everything. But sometimes when we say in Italy, when the door closed,
Another one opens.
exactly, and your opportunity was Europe, an extremely good league. And I personally think that the EuroLeague is underestimated in the state, because I don't know, tell me your opinion, but I think
as a kid, as an American kid, just put yourself in my shoes. As an American kid, you don't grow up, saying I want to go play in Greece or I want to go play in Italy. Your dream is the NBA, so you're doing everything you can to get to the NBA. You're not knowing that it's other places that you can make a great career in, a great, life in different countries, and me having the injury that I had, in that moment when I'm sitting on the floor, looking at my, ankle, I'm just thinking about, wow, like, is anybody going to believe that I can come back, the player that I was before this, and, I had my moments where, it was a lot of doubt. I was like, am I going to be able to be the player that I am? Is other people going to think I'm going to be the player that I am? And, I took that, as motivation to not be a percentage of, I know injuries happen, I was never mad, about it happening, things happen, but it's what you're going to do after that.
Exactly.
That shows your character. Of who you are as a person, or are you gonna fight to at least give yourself a chance to get back to who you are, or are you gonna give up, and that's not in my nature to give up, no matter what the circumstances are. I'm a fight and try to give myself a chance or opportunity until, maybe it's just not, for me, and that, like you said, it opened up another door. Me having that injury, it opened up a door for me to be able to see another side of the country that I never thought about seeing, meeting people that I never thought I'd come across, being places, Spain, Italy, Greece, Serbia, Russia, China, places. These are all places as a kid I never thought about going to, in this game of basketball, or, this injury, that I had, allowed me, open up a door to see, another style of basketball, another, EuroLeague, another game, that's totally different from the NBA, but very competitive, game. And you're seeing a lot of guys from over here go make their name in the NBA and be great players. Luka Doncic, Jokic, Giannis, all those guys that come from Europe that nobody knew, was able to go to America and make a name for themselves, and now it's opening more doors for a lot of these European players. And you know, EuroLeague is definitely having a lot more opportunities for guys to be able to experience playing in NBA and playing in EuroLeague, and being able to do both sometimes, you know, depending on the age. But like you said, one door closes, another one opens, and
Yeah.
God blessed me with another opportunity to come play in another great league, and you know, that's why I am today.
Yeah, you know, before you said as an American kid, I didn't grow up like thinking, okay, I want to play in Serbia, I want to play in Greece, but you need to change this tradition now because of you. People in the States need to say,
Yeah,
I want to go
hopefully
to
not,
Red
you
Star
know.
because of the fans, you know? You
Yeah,
need to say
I
that.
definitely, you know, since I've been over here, have convinced or at least opened eyes to you know, at least give it a chance, you know. And you know, now that the streaming sites got so many ways to actually watch EuroLeague in America, you know, it also helps, you know, so people can see it, and they see my Instagram all the time and see all the fans and how the games are, and they say it's amazing. And I say, yeah, you don't understand it until you actually experience it. So it's a good thing for sure.
I was kidding a little bit, but I just wanted to say that I personally think that it's a little bit underestimated. The EuroLeague, I think, is great. It's completely different. It's full of contact. It's a different style of game, as you said, and the atmosphere is different. I have the impression, like in the States, is more like a show, entertainment. Here is like a cultural thing. And you can see this in Serbia and even in Greece because you play for Olympiacos in 2 seasons. Well, I talk about Serbia, about the Crvena Zvezda, when you have this big rivalry between Zvezda and Partizan. So how is this for a player? Is this like motivating you when you're on the court?
Oh yeah, those derbies, and that's, if you're a basketball player, if you're a competitor, or just, you know, someone that likes to be in hostile environments, derbies are the games for you, you know. And it just shows, you know, the passion from the fans. You know, the fans are way more, it feels like they're trying to get out there on the court and play, you know. It's, the fans are that crazy, and it just shows the passion and the bond and the culture of how much, you know, these fans really, you know, not want to invest in their team. You know, they're so invested, you know, that they feel like it's the end of the world when their team lose, you know. And that's just passion, and just shows, you know, how much they actually care for, you know, whatever side that they're rooting on. But those derbies are amazing games, and me personally, I love playing in them. They don't bother me with all the, you know, the crazy stuff that's going on. It doesn't bother me. If anything, it is entertainment and is motivation for me. You know, if I see somebody going against me, now I'm trying to prove to you that you're not gonna win this battle, you know. But at the end of the day, I go home and you know, I turn on a movie after them derbies. To try to calm down, you know, because they're so crazy. But definitely the best games to play in.
You had a chance to play the two best derbies in Europe, Olympiacos Panathinaikos and Zvezda and Partizan. So I don't want to ask you which one is better. Both are great. I mean, when you're playing for your team, you just want to win, so it's great.
Sure.
But compare that. Tell me. Okay, tell me which one is better. Emisija, come on. I'll ask you directly.
I'm not. You're not gonna get me in trouble with this question, but
Okay.
the best derby is the one that I'm officially a part of right now.
Okay, great.
But I mean that they're both different. Honestly, I think, you know, honest answer, I think they're different. You know, both derbies are different. You know, they both have the good and the bad, a part of the derbies. But you know, I like the one that I'm a part of now, and I'm trying to win as many championships as I can get while I'm here. And but they're, like I said, it's a great game to be a part of, and it's a motivation for me because I like how much the fans actually like to come out and be a part of those games. But the Greek derby is also a special one too.
Yeah, we were just kidding a little bit. We know that the Greek derby and the Serbian derby are definitely, I don't want people from Turkey to get mad at me, but definitely are the two best derbies in Europe, the best fans, because you can see that I don't. They are part of the game.
Yeah,
This is something that I noticed.
part of the game
They're
for sure.
basically playing with you guys.
For sure. And you can just tell the moment you run out, if it's not your home, you know.
And the games with Partizan here, you can see are very intense, because it's not only about a game, it's about prestige, it's about honor. I don't know what to say more. So you notice that. So what do you think about Partizan and this rivalry?
I mean, you know, I personally, I don't have anything against them or their fans. You know, I don't know them personally. You know, I don't know any of their fans personally like that. Outside of the people, obviously the people that I know. But, you know, for me, I don't hate anybody. You know, it's just when it's time for these derbies, you know, you just on the other side of the line. And, you know, at the end of the day, I'm going to war with my guys, you know. So if you're not a part of my guys, you outside the line, and whoever's outside of that line, you know, we got to step on them. And, you know, that's how I look at it. You know, we, at that time, you know, we face to face on the battlefield, and I'm going to war with my guys, you know, my brothers. And after the game, you know, win or loss, you know, I'm still going to hug and love my brothers. And that's how I look at it. You know, I'm just going to fight with my brothers at the front line of the war, and you know, hope to see my brothers at the end of the war. You know, that's how I look at it.
Well, you say my brothers. We're talking about your teammates.
Yeah,
right?
my teammates.
So
for
I
sure.
can imagine you're super close, right?
teammates, for
Tell me
sure.
about the relationship with them and how.
Yeah, so I could just put it like this. I have friends that play for Partizan, you know,
Okay.
but when we playing in the derbies, they're not my friends.
Okay.
You know, they're not my friends until that clock says 0-0.
Okay.
You know, so it's no hate. You know, I don't hate anybody, but when we get ready to go play, you know, we're not friends anymore. You know, we're enemies. So that's how it is.
Okay. And what about your teammates? So I want to know about your relationship with them, because they had a big role. It was your new home, your new experience here in Melbourne. So they needed to, I don't know how to say that, make you feel at home. So tell me about this, about your relationship with them. Did you do the job good? Did you do everything? What
No,
did you do?
my teammates are the best. You know, they especially all the Serbians. You know, they helped us foreigners when we got here. It's almost a whole new team of foreigners come in, and you know, they really helped us, you know, adjust. Even to this day, they always send, hey, if you haven't tried this restaurant, go check it out. You know, or if you haven't tried this place, go check it out. You know, they always get little things. We go drive go-karts together. You know, we do small things together as teammates all the time. And, you know, we got a great captain in Bronco, you know, that keeps everybody in line, you know, make sure everybody at the right spot. Everybody's bringing it every day, you know, guys that's been around for a while, you know, like Neto, you know, Kalinik is from here, Luca, you know, Shaggy, all those guys, you know, that live here, you know, they all tells us about the city, you know, make sure we at the right grocery store, or if we need this type of seasoning or food, this is where you can go get it. You know, they've been the best in those areas. And you know, also at practice, you know, just letting us know how, you know, things are, and you know, the difference from, you know, how the fans and how the Serbians, you know, how they think. You know, us as Americans, you know, or guys that never been in Serbia, you know, like to know, at least I do, like to know how people think, or, you know, if this situation happens, you know, how do they react, or what do they think about this, you know, because every country is different. And, you know, they keep us in the spots we need to be at. And they keep us ready to go for all the derbies, all the Alba games, all the Serbian Cup games, you know, games that we never played a part of or been a part of. You know, they let us know the intensity in the games, and, you know, it's helped us, you know, all season long.
I'm sure that before coming overseas, you had no idea about Serbia. I'm sure about that.
Not at all. Other than it was cold.
So yeah, exactly. So now I want to hear your opinion about Serbia now that you're living actually here. So what do you think? How do you like here? How your family likes here? So tell
It's
me more
nice,
on
you
that.
know. It's different. You know, we're me and my family, we're Southern, so we accustomed to warm weather. Just came from Athens for 2 years. You know, we was loving the weather down there, but it's a beautiful city here. You know, it's a lot of nice places to visit. The school system is nice. The international school is nice, and you know, this mall is amazing. You know, it's brand new.
I just wanted to ask you one more thing. You have 1 more year of contract. So next year, we're going to see you again. For the Red Star fans will be super happy to see you playing for Zvezda. And this season, you made something big for the club. Was a step, let's say, higher than last season. But I'm sure that next season you're going to try to do it even better. So I don't want to ask you about this season. I can imagine it's a little bit tough. I want to ask you about the ambitions for the next season, and what do you want to see from yourself next year with Crvena Zvezda?
You know, just to piggyback off this year, you know, it was an amazing year for us. You know, I felt with it being a new team, you know, us as a team, you know, inside, we was coming in with obviously our goals and expectations as we had as a team, you know, but we wasn't really focused on, you know, what everybody else thought, you know, which helped us all season long. You know, it was focus take it one game at a time. You know, nobody expected us to be in, you know, the position that we was in, and but us, you know, but it was definitely a great start. You know, I'm coming back and looking forward, you know, to next season already. And, you know, I'm sure everybody on our team is just as excited. You know, we obviously, you know, didn't finish exactly where we wanted to be, but it was definitely, you know, a step forward. And, you know, all summer long, I'm gonna be motivated, you know, a lot of things that I want to, you know, work on and get better in, and to come push this team even farther, you know, next season. And I'm sure all my teammates and brothers are going to do the same. And, you know, it's going to be exciting. You know, I'm sure all our fans are excited. You know, we still have some things to finish out this season. And, you know, this season wasn't, you know, a failure for us. You know, it was a stepping stone. We laid the first brick in a direction that, you know, we want to get this club and organization back to. And, you know, they deserve that. And, you know, we're working hard every day at practice, and you know, we're gonna find ways to continue to grow and continue to get better, and including myself. You know, like I said, I'm gonna be motivated all summer long, looking forward to coming back and, you know, trying to do big things and things that, you know, this club has never experienced it or haven't been a part of in a while. And you know, those are all, you know, goals that I'm looking forward to, and, you know, hopefully we can check those boxes off, you know, next season.
And you said that you wanted to come to Crvena Zvezda because you wanted to challenge yourself and you wanted to help the team to make this step forward. This season, you made a little step. Maybe next season will be the big one.
Of course. You know, it's we got a little taste of it this year, and I'm sure everybody's gonna come back hungry and, you know, more motivated next year, and really looking forward to it.
Ajzeja, thank you so much for this conversation. It was a pleasure. I wish you a lot of luck out there. And to wrap up, my guest is wrapping up. Where you nowhere? I just your camera. Yeah.
I really appreciate everybody, you know, that supports me, and, you know, expect a lot of great things. I'm really looking forward to it, and can't wait to see you guys.